Good evening. I'm Evelyn Braxton from the Braxton Family Values. And this evening, we want to talk about the communication between women and men.
Hi, I'm Beverly Hawk, and I'm so glad you came to join us once again. You've got to like us and subscribe so you hear a lot more of information and lessons from us.
Hi, my name is Constance Moore, and you will hear a lot of information and love.
Hello, and I'm Judge Maybelline from Justice with Judge Maybelline, and we are the Sassy Women of Wisdom, talking to you tonight about communication between men and women. Some of us have been out of touch. We don't have any men to communicate.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of us,
True, I'll agree.
Tell the truth and shame the devil.
But from memory.
Yes, good memory.
we got to call
Good
it up.
memories.
Got to call it up.
call it
How
up.
do
I
you
got good
communicate
memories.
with men and women? I know that was a bad subject. I think I was pretty bad at it, to tell you the truth. So I want to start
Why do you think
listening.
you were bad at it? Why? I'm
Because
just interested
I
in that.
think that I did not know how to communicate with a man, and I did not understand in my younger years that men and women communicate with each other differently.
Yes.
And I was from a family that we just all spoke our mind, and we all spoke at the same time if we needed to, and we just said what we had to say without really giving thought to how it may impact or affect the other person. We just said it. As you say, tell it like it is.
Tell it is,
But you
yeah,
can't always
yeah.
tell it like it is.
No,
So
you can't.
I know that when my husband did something that I didn't like, you better not do that to me. I don't like that. But I didn't know how to say it differently. But
Right.
I don't think I know now that's not the right way. Am I right?
Right?
Yeah, but trying to talk to men, they don't hear things the same way that we hear it.
What do you mean by that?
They
Hey, I'm in
just
2 ears. How the hell they go here?
because you read that book, Women Are from
Mars.
Mars.
Men are from Venus.
you
Men
know
are
what I
from
mean?
Mars.
Venus and from Mars.
And
Men are
and
from
the
Mars.
fact is that sometimes you may say something and they take it the wrong way. Or they may say something to us and we take it the wrong way.
Like what?
Well, maybe let me just use
Yeah,
this.
give me an example.
The guy could say, I love you, baby. Right
There's
away.
only one way to take that.
But wait, let me finish.
Okay.
You may think he wants some.
Oh.
You know what I mean. When I say
I know what you mean.
I'm reaching back now. I'm reaching way back. Let's go back. Let's go back. I have to tell him. Let's go back. You know what I mean, babe? But he just may trying to express to you that he loves you. And you like, oh, I don't feel like it tonight. You love me. Oh, God, not again. You know?
Uh-huh.
And so sometimes we get discombobulated, and because we don't feel like it, maybe we are not supposed to go this way, but that's where I'm going. How about that? Maybe because you don't feel like it, maybe because you had a hard day today, when he says that, it just may mean, hey, you look good to me, I love you, I adore you, I cherish you, and we take it another way, or vice versa. We may
Okay.
come in, or he's coming in from a hard day's work, okay? And you're trying to make him feel good. You're trying to make him relax from the day. And you may say, baby, you look good and I love you.
Yeah.
He may feel like, not today. I don't want to hear no bull crap. You know good and well you're not going to give me any. So I'm not even going to try.
I think your mind always on that.
That's what it is.
I was thinking that too.
But it's true. It's fact, for God's sake.
Get
Yeah,
over
the
there.
miscommunication.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, just
should get on
Maybe
that.
because I don't have nobody tell me that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, write your own book.
She went way out there.
I mean, aren't we talking about
Yes.
miscommunication?
Yes, miscommunication.
Are we talking about that?
Yes, we
I mean,
are.
if you guys have something else you want to come up with, then let me know. That may help me.
That was a
today.
miscommunication, definitely.
Constance, now that you really thought about
Now
it,
that
that's
you
a
really thought about it, though,
Miscommunication.
maybe it was on point.
Yeah. Yeah. they
But
just need
because
to
we
get in
haven't been there
line.
for a while.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about between the two
forgot.
people. but
Wait a
they-
minute.
they
You
just
sure
need to
throwing
be
out a
in
lot of
line.
we.
Yeah,
You sure you throwing out a lot of weeds over here.
I think
I
so.
think you better stay over there with me.
Speak for
We're
yourself.
not French.
Right.
Is that what you think?
That's
We
what
are
she
not
said?
French.
I hear you.
Right. I think for me, the miscommunication could be in, in our approach,
Right.
and the way in our tone. Sometimes not just a man or either one or the other doesn't like to be yelled at or talked loudly to. I said, like an in charge thing, like giving a command. Like they say, men don't want to be nagged. So, you just have to find a way of communicating it where they get it the first time. So you don't have to keep saying it over and over where you become the one that seems like the nag.
Like what?
Like maybe you ask him to do something or take you somewhere.
Okay, so now here you ask him to do something for you.
Honey, can you take me to the blah, blah, blah next week? And he'll say, okay. And then that time comes and he's just lounging in his shorts or whatever.
Okay, so
And
now
you
how
say-
you get him to do it?
You
You just
gently
have to
remind
find
him.
that gently remind him.
Gently
you don't
remind him.
have to, get upset. I mean, sometimes you will, because if you have to say it over and over, then you will get upset.
Okay, but we're talking about communication in a manner that's positive. So how do we
Communication in a-
positively communicate to him? I'm pissed because I asked you to take me somewhere last week. You promised to do it, but now you're sitting your tail there on the couch and you're not moving. How do you communicate
Lord.
that without saying all of that?
Without
Right,
that,
you
yeah.
communicate it by being authentic about it. You still have to be truthful about it. Like, I've asked you a number of times now, can you please blah, blah, blah,
See, I think you just messed up in men communication because they hate to be said to tell you, I've asked you so many times. That's already a negative because you're saying, I've asked you so many times. That's already a
I've asked
negative.
you a number of times, and if it has been a number of times and it's truth, the truth has to be told.
But men don't like to hear truth like that.
Well, whether they like or not, they're gonna have to hear it.
But that's why we're talking about how you communicate truth to them without saying I'm communicating truth. You got to be
Right.
smart about communicating the truth.
And kind, you still have to be kind in it. Like they say what you mean what you say, but don't say it in a mean way.
Right.
And then a lot of times also, what I noticed about not so much my generation, but maybe the generation before me or before that, the millenniums, there is a lot of profanity, and it's just taken for granted, And so, if I'm going to curse you out, that's not going to help things either, And if a woman with a filthy mouth, that's what I'm going to have to say.
Well,
I
was told that my problem was, and I think I kind of agree myself, is that I know that I talk loud and I talk harsh. I talk in command tone. Since I came from a family.
Yeah.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
can agree with me, and I
Yeah.
appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
you
know
do.
that most of the time.
too.
But
That's
we
what I
established
But
all
I
that.
came from a
All of us.
family
We know
that
that.
speaks in command tone. We never spoke in my house.
Gotcha.
Will you do so and so, please? Or would you give me a drink of water, please? If my daddy gonna ask me, please give him a drink of water. Or my mother gonna say, please give me a drink of water.
Yeah.
Or please wash the dishes. Or please sweep the floor. Not in this life. So we didn't hear that kind of conversation. So we always heard command. Go do this. Hand me this. Give me that. And my daughter brought it to my attention. My children brought it to my attention. So I think for women, when we're speaking with men in that same command tone, that it's a negative, and we have to find a way to say to them,
Yeah,
will you do
we
something?
do.
You know, not begging
right.
and not pleading, but
Right.
in a nice, gentle tone. I think our tone has to be soft and gentle. And then I went and read in the Bible somewhere where it said, soft words
Turns
turn
away
away
wrath.
wrath. So soft words turn away wrath. So I think we have to speak a little more softly to men than we do to each other sometimes. I think that's one way of communicating differently, the same thing, but softly, they'll respond better than in command tone.
But didn't I just say that?
Yeah, didn't I say that too?
You said
I just say that? That's
Okay,
a
everybody
soft
said it.
word right
Everybody
there.
said it.
We just confirmed it.
well,
But you know,
it just says that we are in agreement.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I may use give him
Different
some,
words, but give him some. But
but
hers has come back to
she
that.
used, Sweetie, will you please do this for me? The same thing.
Speak softly.
That's all.
But not just in talking about sexual behavior, but in saying anything.
Absolutely.
All right.
I think the saying goes, you get more bees with honey.
That's what they say.
And
girl.
that's what they say. And you have to learn how to deal with men just that way. Because sometimes when they forget, it's not an intentional, I forgot
Exactly.
against something you said. Your first thing when Mabel, you said, well, now I'm pissed off. You can't come to them like that. Expect to communicate. You cannot. Because
Expect to
now
get a
you
good
put them on
result.
defense. Yeah. They're going to get very defensive.
Exactly.
And then here we go. Argument. Well, that's not what your intention was. You
Right.
just want to go somewhere. Constance says, we just want to go somewhere.
Right.
So your whole intent. I listened to a speaker one time, just a Stanford professor, and he was talking about the wiring in the brains for men and women. It was the most interesting thing. I probably don't remember everything, but one thing he did say, he says, now I've got PhDs, I've got this, and my wife still says, what is wrong with you? Sometimes you don't hear me. He says, men are just wired differently.
Okay.
They're wired differently. So you have to see that when you come to them, you may have to say it more than once. Sometimes they remember, sometimes they
They're
don't.
like kids then, huh?
Sometimes, well,
They
I've
wired
done
like
years of
kids.
Sometimes they have selective
Sometimes they
amnesia.
have selective. You're right, selective amnesia. But also, you have to come to them because they themselves as men, the ego is there, and so when you come to them, you have to almost know how to maneuver around that ego.
Well,
You
that's what
really
we're trying
do.
to tell. Teach
And
me how
so
to
what you
maneuver
do, and I'm in a relationship with a man
Right.
that's he works, got a business, doing all these things, and I know sometimes his day is 12 hours,
Right.
and he's not a young man, but
Right.
he's younger than me, of course. But
Did she throw that in there? Did she? I'm talking about.
Did she throw that in there? That
just
she's
thought I'd say that.
Go ahead, girl. You on the same page.
Okay, we on the same page. 39 hold.
We got to talk about that too.
There you go. There you go. I realize that when that man is tired and he comes to see me, that my approach to him is, how was your day, baby?
Absolutely.
I know it was probably a hard day because I know all the things you're trying to do. So, you want to eat out, you want to eat in, da-da-da.
You mean
You
you don't
just-
already have the food ready when you get
Not
there?
always. Sometimes he cooks.
Oh.
So, when usually, if he's had a long day, and oftentimes, sometimes we cook together. But if he's had a long day, I said, "Don't worry about it. I got this." Sometimes I, know what time he's coming. I'll have dinner ready.
Right.
But he's the type of man will appreciate it. He'll set the table, even though he's exhausted, and he'll just come put the forks in. And I'm telling him, no, you got to put it like this.
Okay, now there's an example
he
of
was-
communication.
and
How
after
do you
that-
communicate to him that he's not setting the table properly
I just
without
say-
hurting his feelings?
Oh, I just say,
Just
look,
fix
baby,
it.
just do it like this. This is the way you do it. And this is the way you do it. He said, oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
He's cool with that. It's the way you say it.
Exactly.
Can I
It's
just
the
jump in there a
way
minute?
you say it.
Like-
with that
Baby.
communication, that communication was there. The communication is in the things that we do also. Like when you said, can I fix your dinner? Do you want to go out? Or you prepared a dinner already? That's a form of communication.
Yes,
Absolutely.
it is. You're absolutely right.
That's communicating. That's communicating love it's what the intent, what you're doing, how you show up, how you're present,
right.
how you align with one another.
And sometimes
you
it's not
know
always
your-
what you say, is what you do.
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, and you may, and that's it. But
Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
think what our listeners want to hear is
I'm trying to figure out. I want to hear how you when you say men and women communicate differently. So now I'm a woman. I'm communicating with a man. I just heard you say we talked about speak softly. We talked about don't yell and scream. Communicate clearly. Be honest about it.
Authentically.
But
Right.
sometimes men don't want to know all your honesty. What you mean by be
true.
honest?
Yeah.
But as long as you're being honest from yourself. See, I can only be honest and be accountable for me and my honesty in it. And then you learn your mate, like what you can say, what you would say in public and what you would say in private.
Okay, so now tell us for women, because I think that creates a big problem for some women. Because in public, for instance, I know. Here's what I'm gonna give an example.
Okay.
And I earned more money than my husband, so I could not communicate in public that I earned more money, and I had to always show and make it appear that he was funding our outing or whatever we were doing. So I had to give the funds to him in advance so that he had it in his pocket so that when it was time to pay, he could pull it out and he could be the man and he could pay without the rest of the world knowing that I'm, I make more money. But of course, anybody with good sense, since I was a lawyer and he was something else, would know that. But I had to make him not feel less than.
Yes.
And I think a lot of women who make more money than their husbands, they like to flaunt it and want everybody to know that that's what's going on. So one of those ways of communicating with men is communicating, I love you, I appreciate you, and I respect you. And so that's the way I show I respect you as the man of the house. And it's not about me trying to show that I'm the breadwinner. So I respect you enough to so you can gain the respect in the public as well, and won't allow anyone in the public to disrespect you because of that.
So you had a plan.
Yes.
So our listeners know, have a plan. Have a plan in place.
Definitely.
You know how you communicate with your man. You communicated. You already knew before you went to that restaurant how the deal was going to go down, and that was between you and him. It had nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody else's business.
Right.
See the topics that we talk about? So you have to subscribe to us.
Yes. Yes.
Like us.
Like
us.
But another way I think that women and men communicate differently is that women like to talk about issues. When we have an issue and we want to discuss it and get it out, men do not like to talk about issues.
No, they don't.
They'd rather hold it in. So we have to find a way to get them to talk to us about something that's important to us. And so timing is very, very, very important.
Yes.
So we know that you don't try to talk about an issue when he's watching the football game.
Yes. Oh, no.
You don't try to talk about an issue when he's watching the basketball game. You don't want to talk about an issue when any kind of sporting activity or something that he enjoys is going on. And likewise for us, when we're into one of our movies or a TV program, we don't want anybody bugging us either, but we pretend like it's okay. But for men, it is not okay. And so you have to know that.
Right.
And the way I found is to get them to talk about an issue. My mother say, make them think that it's their idea.
Their idea.
That's right.
Do it all
And
the
not
time.
yours.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, it works.
You have to make them think it's their idea
It
and not
works.
yours, even though it's your idea. Honey, what do you think about doing so and so and so and so? Would you do it this way? And you know in your head already that is not the way you would do it.
Absolutely.
And then that opens up the door for him to say, no, you're not going to do it like that. You do it like this.
Right.
And I'm saying to myself, I already knew that.
So
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So,
But for them,
Mm-hmm.
they need to feel a certain way, like they're helping you understand.
That's right.
Exactly.
and you
You
are
know?
empowering him.
That's
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know, making him feel like he's important and he's special.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And he likes that feeling. We all do.
We all
Exactly.
like that.
Right.
Yes,
I
we do.
appreciate your
So,
brain. I appreciate, your ability to think. I appreciate what you have to say. I appreciate your ideas. And I think not only with
Absolutely.
men, we have to make each other in any kind of relationship know and believe that
Yes.
we appreciate each other.
Exactly.
It's
And
important.
making that connection, to be able to connect. And like anything else, to know what's the bottom line? What is it that you want to get from this? What is the bottom line in this
Right.
communication?
Absolutely.
And so when
Yeah.
you know that, you already have an objective in mind.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So it's
Before
there.
you open your mouth, you should have an
That's
objective
right.
in mind.
Exactly.
So-
when you're going to talk.
Right. With that objective, how do I get to be? How do I get the objective accomplished? What's the best way
Absolutely.
to say it? Think about it.
And the
And
best
not
way
think
to get
about
what
it.
you want.
And not
I'm
nag.
saying,
Right.
not nag.
Right.
Try to get an answer from a man is sometimes not the easiest thing to do.
No, it isn't.
No.
And so your approach in trying to get an answer from him, you have to acknowledge you might just get this for right now, but you try again.
Absolutely.
And you do that in kindness as well. I know for me, sometimes I have a tendency, I'll say something, I'm thinking in my head, I just said that. But I can't say, I just said that to
No.
you. I want to say it, but I
Right,
just said that
yeah.
to you 10 minutes ago.
No,
and you
you
still
can't.
come and
No.
asking me, but I don't.
There it is, self-control.
I
Yeah.
Self-control.
Stop it.
That's what we
Stop
can say to our
yourself.
listeners. You
You
know,
have to stop.
have some
Yes.
self-control.
You have to have some self-control, ladies
Be
and gentlemen.
observant.
You have
Observe
to.
what's going
Yes,
on.
absolutely.
All right. Well, another day on Sassy Women of Wisdom. Hold on a second. What's going on here?
Go.
Keep talking.
No.
Right. Another night with the Sassy Women of Wisdom has come to an end. So you
Absolutely.
better subscribe to our channel and like us.
Subscribe.
So that you can
Subscribe.
keep in touch with us and hear
Yes.
more words of wisdom from whom? The
Sassy
Sassy Women of Wisdom.